So this is the yarn I'm going to be using to make this top. It is a very beautiful yarn. It is a foreign yarn. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and this yarn is not locally produced in my country. Even though it's an acrylic yarn, it is not made in Nigeria. It is a foreign yarn, and I just love the colorway because, like, you can see that there are like different colors, even though all the colors are related, which is why I like the yarn a lot, and it is so soft. So I'm not using this exact color for my top, as you would have seen that my top is like a purple one. I used a different color, but this is the exact yarn I used. I'm not able to show you that purple color because it is not new anymore, which is why I'm showing you this one as it is new. You can already even see on the wrap, it has all the standard informations, you know, the size of the yarn. It says it's a medium yarn, a medium weight yarn. It tells you the recommended hook size, all that information. But again, I just like this yarn because of the colors and how soft it is. If you'd like to buy this yarn, you can send me a message on Instagram. I have some other ones for sale, just hit me up. But all that being said, let's just get into the tutorial. I'm so excited, guys. I'm using this nice bamboo hook. I'm using a 5.5 mm hook actually. I don't know if you are able to see that, but it's a 5.5 mm hook, and this hook is bamboo. If you'd like the hook too, I have it available for sale, so you can reach out to me on Instagram. You can either just search for me on Instagram. My handle is @hooked-on-counter, or you can click the link in the description box. I have a link to my Instagram page in my description box. Because this yarn is thick enough for me, I am not going to be doubling it. I know that I have some viewers in Nigeria and who are used to doubling our yarn because the yarn we have locally available is not thick enough, but this one is thick enough, so I am not going to be doubling it. I'm going to be using it like this. And of course, you start with your slip knot. This tutorial I'm doing using a stitch that I already shared on my channel before. I'm using the ripple stitch, and I shared the tutorial for this ripple stitch on my channel before. You can click, I'm going to link it in the description box in case you just want to see how to work that stitch. Maybe you want to use it for another project. You can just watch the stitch tutorial and then use it for the project. I decided to do this tutorial because somebody said I should use that stitch in a project, which is why I chose this. I didn't know what to make for a long time, but eventually I settled on this. So we're going to be starting with a chain of 56. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. Now I have 56 chains. This is going to be like the part across my body. I'm doing this top in 2 panels, a front panel and a back panel. This is just one of them. So this is the part that will go across my body, which means that if you measure this and it will not size you, maybe you need it to be wider, just make more chains in multiples of 14. This pattern, the repeat needs 14 chains or 14 stitches, so just keep going in multiples of 14. So if 56 is not enough for you, you can do 70. If 70 is too much for you, you can just divide 14 in 2 and do multiples of 7, but the pattern repeat is actually multiples of 14. If you watch that stitch tutorial, you understand better how to manipulate the stitch, so how to make it wider or how to make it longer. Now that I have 56 chains, I'm going to do 3 chains which serve as my first double crochet. So I will now start working my row 1. For row 1, put 2 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. This is number 1 from the hook, number 2 from the hook, 3 from the hook, and then the 4th from the hook, you put 2 double crochets. I like working in the back ridges because it makes my row 1 neater. So I'm doing 2 double crochets there. Now that I've done 2 double crochets there, I'm going to do 3 double crochets in each of the next 3 chains. That's 1 double crochet in the next chain, 1 double crochet in the next, and 1 in the next. So 3 double crochets in the next 3 chains. That's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. Now once that is done, I'm going to do double crochet 3 together across the next 3 chains. Double crochet 3 together. I hope you know how to work that. Again, if this is too fast, you can just watch that stitch tutorial to really get the stitch. So I'm done with the first double crochet 3 together, which is this. I will do another double crochet 3 together. So I'm doing 2 sets of double crochet 3 together. This is the second set now. So now I'm done. I've done two double crochet 3 together. Next thing is to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. That's what I'm doing now. This is the third one, third double crochet in the third chain. Next up, do 3 double crochets in the next chain. So it's like an increase. You are doing 3 double crochets in one chain. That is an increase. I'm done with the first increase, which is this that you can see. So I do a second increase. So 3 double crochets in the next chain again. So I'm doing 2 increases. 2 and then 3. Now I'm done with the 2 increases. I increase here and here. Double crochet, 3 double crochets in one chain, 3 double crochets in the next chain. So I did 2 increases. Next I do 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. So 1, and then in the next chain I do another double crochet. In the next chain I do another double crochet. So 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Right now that is done, I will do double crochet. I'll do a decrease, 2 decreases. Now to do the decrease, you do double crochet 3 together. 1, you work 3 double crochets together. That's what double crochet 3 together means. 2, and it's a decrease, 3. So the first decrease is done. I'm doing the second decrease now. 1, 2, 3. The second decrease is done. So here's what you should understand about this stitch that we're working with. This is what the pattern is. The pattern is 2 increases, 3 normal double crochets, then 2 decreases, 3 normal double crochets, then 2 increases, 3 normal double crochets. So you are going to be alternating it. Now we have just finished 2 decreases. I'll do 3 normal double crochets. 1, that's 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. That's what I mean by 3 normal double crochets. 2 and then 3. So because what we did last was decreases, 2 decreases, now I do 2 increases. So you're alternating it. After the 2 decreases, you do 2 increases, then 2 decreases, then 2 increases. Putting the 3 individual double crochets in the middle of each. Don't forget, in the middle of each increase and decrease. Now this is my first increase done, which is 3 double crochets in one chain. I do the second increase, which is also 3 double crochets in one space, in one chain. Now that I'm done with my 2 increases, I do 3 individual double crochets in the next 3 chains. 1 double crochet in each of the next 3 chains. And then I do 2 decreases. So I'm basically just going to continue like this until I get to the end of the row. I'll put the instructions on the screen for you so you can follow along. So as you can see, I have one chain left here. I've just done 3 individual double crochets, and before that I did 2 decreases. So I did 2 decreases, 3 individual double crochets. So what I'm going to be ending with in this last chain is an increase, because the last thing I did was decreases. So I will put 3 double crochets in this last chain. Now it balances out because at the beginning of this row we started with an increase as well. If you remember very well, we started with 3 double crochets in the first stitch. We only did 1 increase at the beginning of the row. So the second one to make up for this one is this one we're doing at the end, because remember that you are always having 2 decreases and 2 increases. So this one at the end here balances out for the first set we did at the beginning. Now we're moving on to row 2. To start row 2, you chain 3. It's basically the same pattern, actually, no change at all in the instruction. It's the same instruction. Start with chain 3, and in the very first double crochet you put 2 more double crochets because it's an increase there. We're starting. So one thing you should notice is that you're starting and ending with increases if you are working with the number of chains I started with as well. Your first stitch is going to be 1 increase, your last stitch is going to be 1 increase. So I've done the increase, and then I like to walk over my stray yarn. That's the yarn at the beginning of the project. I just like to crochet over it. Now that I'm done with the first increase, I do 3 individual double crochets. I told you the pattern and the instruction is the same thing from beginning till the end. Now I've done the 3 individual double crochets. Next thing to do, remember that we did an increase at the beginning, so now you do your 2 decreases. So I'm doing the first decrease. Remember that to do a decrease in this pattern is double crochet 3 together. I've done my first decrease. I'm doing the second decrease now. 1, 2, 3. So now I'm done with the second decrease. Next thing for me to do is 3 individual double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Then I do 2 increases. So just continue that. I hope you understand everything I've said. I'm going to leave instructions on the screen again for you so you can follow along. I'm done with the first increase. I do the second increase now. 1, 2, 3. Then I do 3 individual double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Because we did 2 increases last, what we're going to do now is 2 decreases. Now I want to call your attention to something. This might be a little bit complicated, but I've finished giving you the instructions, so don't get it twisted. I just want to give you a tip so that you know when you make a mistake. When you are doing your decreases, you are doing 3 double crochets together. So this is 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. Now the 3rd double crochet for your first decrease will be ending on the first decrease of the previous row. See guys, I've done 2 double crochets now. I'm about to do the 3rd one. The 3rd one is ending, like the 3rd double crochet for this first decrease is ending in the first decrease of the last row. God, I hope you guys will understand what I'm trying to say, but it is just a tip. So if that is not happening, you know that you've made a mistake. And then your second decrease will be starting in the second decrease from the previous row. So I'm starting my second decrease now from the second decrease of the previous row. So that is done, and then I do 3 individual double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Of course, you know what we're going to be doing next is 2 increases. Now another tip for the increase is that your first increase will be on the last stitch. You know in the last row we did 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. Now the increase of the next row will be in the 3rd, like in the last double crochet. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, it's just a tip for you, so you know when you are making mistakes. It's not like this is part of the instruction or anything, but I don't want to confuse you. But I'm sure you will eventually figure it out when you are working it yourself too. Then I do my second increase, which will be on the first double crochet of the previous increase. Anyway, so just continue doing that. You do 2 increases, work 3 individual double crochets, then 2 decreases, 3 individual double crochets, 2 increases, 3 individual double crochets, and that is all you are going to be doing in this pattern. For this pattern, like for the whole top, that is all you will be doing. So when you continue doing this row by row until you have the length that you want for your top. This can also be a dress if you want, so you just continue doing it until you have the length that you want. Once you get the length that you want, you fasten off and do a second panel, because remember, this is just one panel. We're making this top in 2 panels, so this is either going to be my front or my back, and this is either going to be my front or my back. So when I'm done with this, I do the second panel, and then I will meet you guys back up when I'm done with my 2 panels. I hope you understand everything I've said. Feel free to rewind. If you still don't get the hang of the stitch, click the link in the description box so you can go and watch the full stitch tutorial where I explain in more detail, you know, so you understand it better before you come back to this top. And I'm just going to finish working row 2, and I'll see you guys when I'm done with my 2 panels. So I'm done with my row 2. As you can see, I'm going to continue working like row 3, row 4. Like I'll just keep working until this is the length I want. When I'm done, I'll tell you how many rows I did for mine in terms of length, and we're just going to join the front and the back. It's the easiest stuff you ever make, I assure you. So I have finished my 2 panels. I ended up doing 15 rows for each panel. This is one, and this is another one, the second panel. You can see how the colors just like move. It is so beautiful. This is one ball of yarn. The ball of yarn has different shades of purple. So as I was working with it, the colors were like just coming out. So lovely. This is one panel. I think I'm going to make this one my front. I don't know yet, because I think the top is going to be like reversible, like you can either wear back to front or front to back. It's not going to, the front will be different from the back except in terms of color. So, and then this is the second panel. I've just finished working the second panel. You can see that my yarn is still attached even. So what I'll do now, the reason why I didn't cut off the yarn is that we're going to now join the sides of the top. Trust me, we're almost done. This is the quickest top you ever make. What I'm doing now, I'm aligning everything so that everything is like together properly. I'm aligning it because we're about to sew the sides of the top. I'm just aligning, making sure everything is okay, right? So I'm coming to the side now. I'm going to sew. Okay, by the way, if you want your top to be longer, just do more rows. I did 15 rows all together. I have 15 rows from top to bottom. If you want your top to be longer, just make more rows. If you want it to be a dress instead, also just make more rows until it's long enough for what you want. Now we're going to be joining using slip stitches. So I chain one, right? Now that I've chained one, I'm going to just put my hook. I'm going to be putting my hook into the front and the back, like I'm sure you already know how to join. Just putting my hook here and in the corresponding space at the back and doing slip stitches. You can also join with single crochet stitches, whichever one you prefer. Put your hook in front. Just make sure you're putting it in the corresponding place at the back. That's what's most important here. Otherwise, the joint will not be smooth. So I'm going to be joining 8 rows. Like I'll be joining, I'll keep joining until I've joined 8 rows together. Remember that I said I did 15 rows all together. I'm just going to continue joining until I've joined up to 8 rows because I need 7 rows for my armhole. I already measured it, you know, the parts that my arm is going to come out through, the parts that, yeah, that's the part that is armhole. I need 7 rows for that. So I'm just going to join till I've joined 8 rows. I'll join the second side too, and then we join the neckline. And that will be all for this tutorial. I am so excited, guys. Like, I cannot even wait to wear it. It is so, this yarn is so lush. The piece is very, very, very soft. For everybody that has been looking for a soft yarn, this is what you need. It is so soft, like almost too soft even. It falls off the hook sometimes. So I'm here now. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 6th row. I'm going to 8. I'm going to stop joining here. So I'm continuing now. I'm just confirming again so I don't overjoin. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is the last row that I'll be joining here. Okay, so I'm done joining this side of the top, as you can see, right? There are 2 options from here of what you can do from here. You can either like fasten off the yarn and go join the other side the same exact way. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the second method, and the second method is I will slip stitch in just one side. I'll slip stitch until I get here. So sometimes you do slip stitches to take your working yarn from one end to the other. So our working yarn is currently here. What I want to do now, our working yarn is currently here. What I want to do now is move the working yarn from here. I want to move it to the top of the blouse. So I want to move the working yarn from here to here so that I can join the shoulder before I fasten off. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but of course I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to be doing slip stitches in this side, just one of the panels. I'll be slip stitching here. I'm not slip stitching in the 2 panels because that'll be me joining the 2 panels together. I'm slip stitching in just one panel, and that is just to move my working yarn from here to here, right? So when I'm done, when I get here, we're then going to join the shoulder. I'll just join from here to here. Like I'll join one ripple together for one shoulder, then I'll also slip stitch again to take the yarn. Okay, let me just show you so that I'm not just talking so much. So I chain one now and I start slip stitching in only one panel. Please don't forget, because if you slip stitch in the 2 panels, you are joining them, and you don't want to join, because if you join the whole side together, there's no way you'll be able to put your hand in the top. That space is where your hand is supposed to come out through. So I'm just slip stitching, as you can see. Just slip stitching. So I've gotten to the end now. See, this part is still not joined, like I was saying. You can see the part is still not joined. This is the part where the arm will come out of. Now I'm putting these 2 panels together, like just laying everything so that it is properly aligned, right? I'm just making sure everything is properly aligned. I will now join, see my working yarn is here now. My working yarn is here, so I will now join this peak here. This peak here is where I'm joining for my shoulder. Let me just show you. So to start that, I'll chain one and then I put my hook. Same thing when you're joining, like just make sure you're putting your hook in the corresponding space at the back. I'm doing, okay, so this, because this part is a bit dark, you might not really see what I'm doing, but just make sure if you're putting your hook in stitch 1 in front, you're putting it in stitch 1 at the back. And what I'm doing is actually joining in the spaces. I'm joining in the spaces between each stitch because this was my foundation row, and you know it's usually a little bit tricky to work in foundation rows. That's why I'm not working in the chain. Like it's usually a little bit tricky to work in your starting chain, especially when you've already put in one stitch there before. So I'm not bother stressing myself trying to figure that out. I'm just working in the space because it gives the same effect. You just want it joined. Where you're placing the hook doesn't matter. What matters though is that you're doing the same thing in the front and at the back. I'm just joining one of the peaks for one shoulder. For this top, like you can just like put it on your body to see maybe how many peaks you want to join for your shoulder. It's completely customizable. Like you can do whatever you'd like for your own top. Okay, so now I'm done. I'm done joining this peak here. I'm done joining this peak, as you can see. One side, the other side. This is the part where my arm comes out of, open here. So what I'm going to do now is the same thing we did before. I'm going to do slip stitches across here to get my working yarn to this point. I want to get my working yarn to this point now. So I'm just going to slip stitch from here to that side. Again, on one panel only. Like you are not slip stitching in the two, because if you slip stitch in the two, you are joining it together and there will be no opening there anymore. So chain one to start. And I'm now slip stitching. Again, I'm just slip stitching in the spaces in between my stitches, because nothing really can stress me out right now. Putting it in the space between and the chain, for me, I don't think there's any major difference. So like it doesn't really change anything in terms of outcome or look of the piece. Okay guys, so I've done the slip stitch. You can see now that my working yarn is on this end now. This is like this is the second shoulder that we're about to join now. My working yarn is here where we're going to start joining. So I just pull in the second panel and I align everything. Then I start doing the slip stitches in the two panels this time around, right? I hope you understand everything I'm explaining. So chain one. Don't forget to put the hook in like the same space. Wherever you put the hook in front is where you should put it in at the back, so that your join is seamless. And now you continue doing the slip stitches but in the two panels, because we are joining now. Okay, I've just come to the end. I've just finished joining up until the end. As you can see, I'm done joining. So we're going to do the same thing now. Done joining, so we do the same thing now. I will do a slip stitch. We want to join this other side. We want to join the second side of the top. So I will do a slip stitch, like I want to get the working yarn from. Remember that for that side, I only joined 8 rows from the bottom. I joined 8 rows from the bottom of the top. So now I would do slip stitches from the beginning till I get up until the point where I start joining. Because there are 15 rows in this top, I'll slip stitch in 7 rows before I now start joining, because when I slip stitch in 7 rows, I will now join the remaining 8 rows. I hope you understand, but let's just do it together. Chain 1 to start your slip stitch, and I will be slip stitching in just one panel. Remember, because we are moving the working yarn from one point to another point of the work. That is why we are slip stitching in just one panel instead of the 2. We are not joining yet. I just want to get the working yarn to be where I want. So now I'm just counting to see how many I've joined. 1, 2, to see whether I've gotten to where I'm going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've just gotten to the 7th row. What I want to do now is to start joining, because I have 8 rows left. So put the front and the back together nicely. Make sure that. Okay, so we start joining now. Put the hook in the same place at the front and at the back. We are starting to join. And we're joining the last row now. And as you can see, we're done joining. We're done joining the top. I have just turned it to the right side. Yeah, but don't forget to weave in your ends. I'm going to weave my ends in off camera. This is the side. This is the armhole where my arm will come out of for one side. This is one shoulder. This is the right side of the top, by the way. Like I've turned it from, I've turned it inside out or right side out. This is one shoulder. Then this is the neckline. I like how the neckline has like this nice wavy edge on the neckline. This is where I put my head through. One shoulder, then the second shoulder joined. When you turn it, the second armhole, the second side of the top, and then lastly the base of the top. The base also has that very nice edging. I really like the ripple stitch. Front and back, they both have that nice edging, so you can either wear each of the color sides to the front or the back. I really enjoy filming this tutorial for you. I hope you enjoy making the top. I hope you learned from it. If you make this top, make sure to send me your pictures on Instagram. I would love to see. My Instagram handle is @HookedOnKauthar. If you have any questions, feel free to either leave them in the comment section or also send them to me on Instagram. If you'd like to use this yarn, it is so soft, and guys, I wish you could feel it. If you'd like to use this yarn, you can send me a message on Instagram to buy it. If you want to use a crochet hook, you can also send me a message. I actually set a goal to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of January, and today is the end of January. If only you subscribe, then I can hit that goal. So please subscribe right now. Comment down below whatever you'd like me to film, and I'm going to see you in my next video, guys. Bye.